Hello YouTube, Wes here checking in. Welcome to a brand new episode of The Vinyl Survivor. This is where I talk about the albums I've recently listened to from my inbox, let you know what I think of them, let you know a little bit about their history if I know anything, and let you know whether they're going to be going back there in my permanent collection for good, or whether they just weren't for me, something I didn't like, or whatever it may be. So let's go ahead and get into this. I believe this is episode 153. Got a pretty interesting episode for you. First thing I have here is one of the National Geographic releases. This one is titled Sounds of the Sea from 1975, or 1973, I'm sorry. So this has some seafaring, folksy kind of songs, you know, songs of lost ships and songs of missing your loved ones while you're away on out to sea kind of thing. And as always with the National Geographic releases, lots and lots of photos and liner notes and stuff. Always talking about the people who wrote these songs, maybe the instruments they used, that type of thing. Even got an anatomy of a sailboat there. Pretty cool. Here is the National Geographic label there, or the custom label for this particular release anyway. It's pretty much what you would expect it to be. It's sort of folksy, seafaring type songs. So that's National Geographic Songs and Sounds of the Sea. And yeah, this one, I dig it. I collect these National Geographic records. I have most of them at this point. So yeah, this is definitely a keeper for me and definitely something that will stay in my collection. All right, next up we move from the sea to an apartment building. This is Nils Frahm's 2011 release titled Felt. I hope that's not too blown out. So yeah, Nils Frahm is mainly, he's like an ambient musician, plays a lot of piano, similar to like a Keith Jarrett, a modern day version of a Keith Jarrett. Very ambient keyboard instrument kind of playing. Sometimes gets into electronica. This one mainly is a piano-based album, and the title for the album Felt comes from he was in his apartment and working on music, and he wanted to quiet down the piano to keep his neighbors from being annoyed, from him constantly playing at all hours of the day. You're inspired in the middle of the night, whatever it is. So he put this heavy felt underneath all the strings on the piano to sort of quiet it down. And he found that he really liked the way it sounded when it had this felt underneath the strings. So he decided to, record it, and he had to put the microphone really, really close to the strings to even be able to pick them up. So you're getting a lot of ambient room noise. You can actually like hear the strings vibrating because the microphone is so close to the strings, and it makes a really interesting and unique sound. And it adds a lot to the ambience of the album. So this is a really cool album from him, and I really when I heard about it and was finally able to get a copy for myself, I was glad. It was definitely an enjoyable listen. An insert that talks about what I just told you, basically about how this album came to be and stuff, and very sort of minimalist in that respect. And this is on black vinyl. So yeah, Nils Frahm's album Felt, really, really awesome. Really dug it, and definitely, absolutely going to be staying in my collection. I have a ever-growing Nils Frahm collection, and that's going to be a welcome addition to that. Okay, so moving on to some hip-hop here. This is one from 1990, The Young and the Restless with Something to Get You Hyped. This has the song Poison Ivy on it, and Louie Louie. This was sort of a Miami hip-hop group. I don't know how far they made it as far as, reaching the rest of the country. I would imagine this was a pretty big song. These were pretty big hits for them, mainly Poison Ivy, I think. I think that one probably went nationwide, if not worldwide. But yeah, just some fun late 80s, early 90s hip-hop, and it's sort of slightly sort of comedic, it's kind of funny hip hop of that time period. with a Miami-based sort of style to it. The Pan-Disc Records label. So yeah, it's Young and Restless with Something to Get You Hyped from 1990. Definitely gets a thumbs up from me. This is kind of a nostalgic thing for me, and I enjoyed re-listening to this. And we've got some other good tracks on here. B-Girls, Cold Get Ill, It Just Wasn't Our Day. As I said, very comedic, very fun hip-hop. So definitely dug that one, and that one is staying in my collection. All right, next up, moving back into the 1970s and some rock and roll, we have the 1977 release from Liotta, Haynes, and Jeremiah. This is their album titled Slippin' Away from 1977, as I said. It does have a fun album cover, and I thought that album cover was kind of funny. Liotta, Haynes, and Jeremiah were a Chicago-based rock and roll group. They were most well known for, I believe it was 1971, they did the song Lakeshore Drive, which people turned into a drug reference thing, but actually the band claims it has nothing to do with drugs. But yeah, just some fun sort of 70s rock kind of stuff. And this would be their last real full-length album. The band sort of broke up after this album. They sort of rejoined later on again and did some sort of reunion type albums and stuff, but I think this was their last real album. Sort of a custom label on Littlefoot Records. I do like that label a lot. Really cool looking label. So Liotta, Haynes, Jeremiah, Slippin' Away. I dug it. I'm going to keep it for now, and I definitely enjoyed listening to this, and it's going to be staying in my collection. All right, bouncing back to some hip-hop to keep you on your toes, we have Lil Jon with Crunk Juice, or more correctly, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys with Crunk Juice, and of course, yeah, this sort of crunk hip-hop type stuff, early 2000s. I dig it. It's going back to that more party-esque kind of hip-hop, not real serious, just sort of having a good time kind of hip-hop, and a lot of call and response type stuff, and a lot of just having fun kind of partying kind of music, and I like this stuff. So definitely was cool to pick this up on vinyl. A cool 2 LP set, custom labels. So yeah, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. I dug it, and it's going to be staying in my collection. Okay, moving on to something that's definitely not hip hop and can loosely be described as rock and roll. This is Boris with Merce with their album Sun-Baked Snow Cave from 2005. Really cool gatefold, really nice packaging on this, really heavy Stoughton jacket. This is a 2014 release, was when it was first released on vinyl, and they did multiple colors. This happens to be a black edition, but they did white and blue, I think, as well. So yeah, Boris, the doom metal band, and Merce, the Japanese sort of noise rock band, sort of got together and did this hour-long piece of music. So yeah, it's just it's doomy, ambient kind of stuff. If you know Boris, you know Boris. You kind of know what you're going to get with this. And I'll just show you one of these LPs since it's the black vinyl version, but yeah, just black vinyl pressing. Just long. I guess each side is about 15 minutes since the whole piece is an hour long. So yeah, not the best thing for vinyl, I guess, since it's just sort of one piece of music and it's meant to be listened to all at once, and you don't have to flip like 4 times to listen to the whole thing. But sometimes it's just cool to have some of this stuff on vinyl, and I did find this for a really good price, and I used some store credit I had to buy it at the time. But yeah, I've enjoyed listening to this over the past couple years, and definitely want to keep it around, so it's staying in the collection. Okay, next up, moving back into the 1960s actually, but staying in the rock vein, we have Richie Havens with Electric Havens. As I said, this was released in 1968. So this consists of some tracks that Richie recorded acoustically, and then a producer went back and sort of overdubbed some electric instruments in there. Yeah, at the time I didn't realize what had happened. I sort of learned this later on after doing some research. This is enjoyable. Maybe not exactly. Apparently, Richie Havens did not like this. Did not like what they did with this. But it's. I enjoyed it. I guess I could say it's. It is what it is. It may not be what Richie wanted, but it was cool to hear sort of electrified Richie Havens, which is what it sort of tells you on the cover there. Label, nice silver and black label. So yeah, I guess there was a fight over this, and eventually this actually got pulled from circulation. So these are supposedly somewhat hard to find. But yeah, as I said, I enjoyed listening to it, and I want to keep it around for a while. So this one is staying in the collection. All right, moving on. We got another one, second one from National Geographic in this episode, and this one is the music of Trinidad. So yeah, get some really nice Caribbean music on this one. And again, as always, as I said with the National Geographic releases, you get the nice photos and liner notes talking about the people of Trinidad and the music they played and the instruments they used and all that kind of detail that National Geographic can give you. And a really killer cover on this one too. That's probably one of the best covers on the National Geographic's records there are. Definitely gives you the sense of being in that place. And then there is the label. So yeah, just a nice compilation of Trinidad folk music and really enjoyable listen. A really nice trip to Trinidad with this one. So obviously staying in my National Geographic collection. All right, moving on, a bit of I guess you could call it, I don't know what you could call it. It's technically Schlager music, but we have Heino with his Greatest Hits Volume 3, basically is the title of this one. If you haven't experienced German Schlager music, you owe it to yourself to give it a try. It's pretty cheesy, but it's fun, and I can sort of see enjoying myself singing along to this when I've had a few whip beers there and some pretzels and some sausage and some schnitzel and some sauerkraut and all the wonderful potato salad and all that wonderful stuff that I love. Now, this is a German pressing on EMI Columbia Records. So yeah, Heino 3, it's staying in my collection. This is not something I seek out to find Heino records, but I think everyone should have one or at least give one a try just to experience it. It's fun, and yeah, definitely wanted to keep that in the collection. Never know when you want to annoy someone, make them leave the house. And last but definitely not least, we have an album by Harry Belafonte. This is Harry Belafonte Sings of the Caribbean. 1957 is the year on this one. This is his 5th studio album. And yeah, he's just doing Caribbean songs on here. Harry Belafonte was born and spent a lot of his youth in the West Indies, so these are well-known, well-loved songs to him, and songs taught to him by his family. Nice copy of this. This is an electronically reprocessed stereo version of this, unfortunately, being from 1957. And there's the RCA Victor label with Nipper on it. Oh, so yeah, a lot along the same lines as the National Geographic Music of Trinidad. Just some really cool sort of Caribbean type music. So yeah, this one definitely is a thumbs up for me. I'm a Harry Belafonte collector and a big fan, and definitely want to keep this in my collection. So that's going to do it for this episode of The Vinyl Survivor. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please stay tuned. Please subscribe if you aren't already. More episodes to come, as well as other vinyl and music related things here on the channel I think you'll like. Have a great day, great night, and we'll see you again real soon. Cheers.